No.
No, Your Honor, yes, Your Honor, just go ahead. I just want to say, thank you, by the way. I'm going through a hard time, and I'm trying my best. I did all I could. I took the test as much as I could, and I followed the laws. I'm a good dad. Yeah, I'm trying to be a good man. And I apologize that I couldn't keep up with all that I was required to do. I did call the courts, and I apologize to them too. I don't know if you know that, but I apologize.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Goodrich, any recommendations from people?
Is this both on the underlying case?
Yes.
And, okay.
Before this hearing even begins, remember this. The man standing in this courtroom isn't just facing sentencing for child abuse. He's also accused of repeatedly ignoring the court's orders, missed drug tests, missed calls, and a judge who's already losing patience. And here's the big question for today. Will the court give him another chance, or finally run out of patience?
So we're here for sentencing on a charge of child abuse in the third degree. It's punishable by maximum of 2 years. The guideline range of 5 to 23 months. First off, Mr. Madaloni, do you have any additions or corrections to the report or challenges to the scoring of the guidelines?
I do not.
Let's pause for a second. The judge just mentioned the sentencing guideline range, 5 to 23 months. In cases like this, those guidelines help judges decide a fair punishment based on the crime and the defendant's criminal history. But here's the twist. Judges aren't always required to follow plea deals. And as we're about to see, this judge is already signaling frustration.
Ms. Goodrich, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are also here, it looks like there's 2 show causes. One that was signed on April 8th that alleges, Mr. Wolf, that you are in contempt of court for violating the conditions of your bond by missing tests and calls from March 8th through April 8th, except for the date of March 11th. And then there's another show cause dated May 3rd, alleging that you are in contempt of court for violating your bond by continuing to not call or text. You have a right to have a hearing where that would need to be established beyond a reasonable doubt, the right to the assistance of your attorney at that hearing. If you are found to be in contempt, you could be jailed up to 93 days and or fined up to $7,500. Understanding the rights that you have and the penalties that you would face, Mr. Madaloni, do you know how Mr. Wolf wishes to proceed on the contempt?
I think he has an explanation. I'm guilty with an explanation, I think.
Okay. Mr. Wolf, if you want to stand and raise your hand for me. Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth shall be God.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can see it.
Contempt of court is no small thing. When someone violates the conditions of their bond, like failing to check in or skipping drug tests, the court can punish them separately from the original crime. In this case, each contempt charge could mean up to 93 days in jail. And right now, the defendant is about to admit something that could make his situation much worse.
And are you Matthew Allen Wolf Jr.?
Yes, sir.
Okay, has anybody promised you anything in exchange for admission of contempt?
No, Your Honor.
Anybody threatened you?
No, Your Honor.
So your own free choice.
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you wish to plead to contempt of court, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right, and your conditions of bond were to call every day and test when you do so, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and did you miss several calls and tests?
I called the line every day. I did miss tests though, as I called the court and told that I just couldn't afford it, Your Honor. There was like 4 times a week. I did test once a week though. I don't know why it doesn't show that on there. I tested 3 times or once a week at New Beginnings in Traverse City, and then the last test I took right here in Sheboygan at Harbor Hall, which was last week. Yesterday, I missed my test yesterday too because I could not afford it. I'm a full-time father of 2 with no help, and I could barely keep up with my bills. I simply couldn't afford it. I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Madaloni, you satisfied with that factual basis?
I am.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
All right, well, Mr. Wolf, I find that your plea of contempt is knowing and voluntarily and understanding made, and that there is a sufficient basis in fact and law to believe that you are in contempt. So I will so make that finding and accept that plea. You want me to bring in Mr. Brown and excuse him that?
Yes, thank you.
Let's do that real quick.
You can hear the emotion in his voice. He says he's struggling financially and trying to raise kids on his own. But here's the harsh reality. Inside a courtroom, personal hardship doesn't excuse ignoring court orders. Judges hear difficult stories every single day, and what they're really looking for is compliance. And now, the most powerful moment of the hearing is about to happen.
All right, Mr. Brown, your testimony is not needed in this matter. We did just address it on the record, so you're excused from the subpoena the prosecutor's contacted you about.
Thank you.
This is what's called a victim impact statement, one of the most emotional parts of any sentencing hearing. It allows victims, or their families, to explain how the crime changed their lives. And judges often listen very closely here, because these statements reveal something legal documents can't: the human cost of the crime.
All right. Okay, so Mr. Mataloni, anything you want to say in your client's behalf for sentencing?
Overall on everything?
Well, I guess overall and the contempt, yes.
I really don't know what to say to the contempt. It's been something that's been going on throughout this case. He's had difficulty reaching them. He's had difficulty getting to the tests, and I know he has a financial difficulty. I can speak to that personally, but I don't think he's colored outside the lines other than that. And I don't think he's been using. I really think that he's in a situation where he is on his own. He did manage to find someone to watch his kids out in the parking lot for him today, but as I advised, according to the prosecutor earlier, he didn't have anyone to watch his kids, and he was going to have to bring them with him. So I'm going to leave it to the court's discretion. I don't think that he's a threat to the community. I would ask the court maybe decrease the frequency of testing and make it more financially.
And here's the moment that decides everything. The prosecutor just reminded the court that this defendant has 9 prior felonies and multiple bond violations even after being warned. Now, the judge must decide, follow the plea agreement, or reject it and impose a harsher punishment. What happens next will tell us exactly how much patience this court has left.
Compliable for my client. As far as the agreement we have goes, I'm going to ask the court to follow that. I don't think that he's done anything to, again, ruin that deal. He hasn't violated the bond in contacting the victim or anything of that nature. So I'm going to ask the court to follow our agreement there. And again, the court's been very gracious in the past when it comes to these violations. I know that. It just seems like there should be some sort of solution where he could test right here in town and less often, just from the financial aspect of it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wolf, it's not required that you would make a statement today. It is allowed. Is there anything you want to tell me? No.
No, Your Honor, yes, Your Honor, just go ahead. I just want to say, thank you, by the way. I'm going through a hard time, and I'm trying my best. I did all I could. I took the test as much as I could, and I followed the laws. I'm a good dad. Yeah, I'm trying to be a good man. And I apologize that I couldn't keep up with all that I was required to do. I did call the courts, and I apologize to them too. I don't know if you know that, but I apologize.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Goodrich, any recommendations from the people?
Is this both on the underlying case?
Yes.
And, okay. First, I would ask the court for permission for Jane Livingston to speak. She is the
Yes.
mother of the minor.
Yes. Good afternoon, Ms. Livingston. Anything you want to tell me before I impose sentence? Go ahead.
I have an impact statement based on, how my life has been since this case has been going on. Matthew Wolf has made an impact in my son's and I's life in a lot of different ways that affects our everyday life. My son, he is impacted by Matthew in multiple different ways. His personality has changed. He's quick to get upset and frustrated when something doesn't go his way. He gets aggressive. He's never been that way until after the day of November 23rd, 2022. He's afraid of everyone, whether or not you're a male or female, because of what Matthew has done to him. He cowers and hides behind me, even if someone's just trying to say hi to him. My son gets scared every time I drive towards Sheboygan because he thinks he's going to be seeing Matthew Wolf somehow, and I'm always having to calm him down to reiterate the fact that he's not going to be seeing him again. He even flinches at the slightest movements towards him as if he feels someone's out to get him because of what Matthew Wolf did. All of the impacts that Matthew Wolf has made on my son has also impacted my everyday life of trying to help my son do this every day. life as he tries to understand and question what has happened to him and why. Every day I question why and how could anyone ever put their hands on someone as innocent as a 2-year-old at the time of the events? How could someone be so spiteful of an innocent little being that's just learning the ways of life and what they can and cannot do? A 2-year-old isn't going to be able to defend themselves from a grown adult. A 2-year-old isn't going to know how to try and find a phone to dial 911. A 2-year-old isn't going to understand why someone's putting their hands on them in an aggressive way and decipher if it's right or wrong. I question every day what would have happened differently had Leon Landry, Bentley's biological father, called the cops that day instead of just bringing my son to me, as I'm completely clueless as to who Matthew Wolf and Diamond Swinehart are. Matthew's impacted me by making me uneasy about even sending my son to a daycare or even school in that matter, knowing and seeing what happened to my son, because I have little to no trust in people anymore. This case lasting a year and a half, and me endlessly having to be the only one to advocate for my son and hoping to get the justice he so deserves. To me, this isn't a justice system. My son isn't getting any justice in the matter when Matthew Wolf has been deliberately continuing to violate bonds the whole case, as he has only had to sit one time for a bond violation for only 84 days and had just got given a plea deal of 12 months probation. I personally think it's a whole load of crap that he's getting less than what I've been fighting for this whole case. Sorry, Your Honor.
It's fine.
I've been impacted financially as it's been a whole load, or I've been impacted financially as I've been having to drive back and forth.
And there it is. The judge rejects the plea deal, citing the defendant's criminal history and repeated violations of court orders. Instead of probation, the court imposes 1 full year in county jail, plus additional time for contempt. It's a powerful reminder of something every courtroom defendant eventually learns. Second chances exist, but they don't last forever.